we completed the first 3 chapters and we started the 4th chapter last time. So the 4th chapter spoke about the first offense to the holy name, which is blaspheming the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy names of the Lord. Vaishnava Ninda or Sadhu Ninda, that is said to be the first offense to the holy name. So we started discussing on this theme yesterday. So here, this chapter, if you remember, started with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asking Srila Haridas Thakur, my dear Haridas, please describe in detail the offenses to the holy name. So in this context, Srila Haridas Thakur mentions that, okay, my dear Lord, by your power, I will share what you are making me share. Then he mentions the 10 offenses, and he says that Sadhu Ninda or criticism of Vaishnava is the first of the 10 offenses, and he defines what is Ninda. He says Ninda means animosity or malice. So in order to establish this point, first the potency of a Vaishnava is described. So what is the potency of a Vaishnava? He says, in the pure Vaishnava resides Bhakti Shakti in the form of Hladini Shakti and Samvit Shakti, or the knowledge potency and the bliss potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, by coming in contact with a Vaishnava, one can also receive Krishna Bhakti. So therefore, the food, dust, foot, water, and the food remnants of a Vaishnava are considered to be extremely potent in actually bestowing spiritual benefit. Bhaktapada Doliyara Bhaktapada Jal, Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha Tena Mahabal. So the three very, very spiritually potent things are the food remnants, food dust, and food water of a Vaishnava. Right? So then he says that if one remains close to a Vaishnava, the energy that is emanating from the heart of that Vaishnava, the spiritual energy, one can get access to that spiritual energy and one can bind it to one's own heart. And in this way, when one lives close to a Vaishnava, very soon one will himself become a very advanced devotee. Right? And then he says that this is, of course, the very special potency of a Uttamadhikari, but even those who may still be Madhyamadhikaris or even Kanishtadhikaris for that matter, even they will, one will have effect even from those Vaishnavas. So as Prabhupada says, purity is the force. To the extent that the person is pure, to that extent one will have the effect of the presence of that Vaishnava. Right? So then we discussed the theme of who is a sadhu or a Vaishnava. So we saw from the 11th canto all these qualities: Dayalu, Sahishnu, Sama, Droha, Shunyavrata, Satyasara. All these 25 qualities we saw. And we saw that these are the characteristics of a sadhu. But however, there are two characteristics of a sadhu: the principal characteristic and the marginal characteristics. The principal characteristics is Krishneka Sharanam. One is exclusive surrender to Krishna, while all the other characteristics are completely dependent on this one characteristic of complete surrender to Krishna. He says, if somehow or other by good fortune, if one may get the association of Vaishnavas and then attain a taste for the name, chant the name, then take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. These are all results of Vaishnava association, and by that Vaishnava association, receiving the pure faith in um, in bhakti. So then this Shuddha Shraddha or Shuddha Bhakti Shraddha just hold on. The Shuddha Bhakti Shraddha. Oh, Krishna. I don't know, something wrong. Every time I have this issue with my. I'm sorry. I'll just open my this thing again. There is some uh, issue with my PowerPoint. So this pure devotional faith is the primary characteristic. Hmm? So what is this pure devotional faith? So we will discuss on this theme. So just hold on. I will just share the screen with you. Okay. So pure devotional faith becomes the primary characteristic of bhakti, right? Oh no, just okay. Pure devo. Oh Krishna. Okay, I don't know. There is something wrong with my PowerPoint. It's getting stopped again and again. I will try again. And without my PowerPoint, I feel completely lost. So let us try once more and see if it works or not. I don't know. For some reason, it's getting closed again and again. Okay. Someone is giving suggestions. Someone says, I will pray for you. I'll pray that your PowerPoint works. Let's see. I mean, whatever works. Um, Let me try out. Let's see if the prayers work or not. Prayers should work. Vaishnava's prayers should work. Let me check. Oh no. Something wrong. Okay. So this pure devotional faith. Okay. Somehow it seems like working now. So this pure devotional faith is the primary characteristic of bhakti. So what is this pure devotional faith? So pure devotional faith means, sorry, Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. If I just practice bhakti, just by my practice of bhakti, everything um, mm, is achieved. You know, all good fortune can be achieved um, just by practicing Krishna bhakti. So this is pure devotional faith. Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanashilanam bhaktiruttama. So this is pure devotional faith that one has no other desire to achieve by practice of bhakti other than the pleasure of Krishna. So one is not performing bhakti with a desire to achieve any other desire other than the pleasure of Krishna. This is the nature of pure devotional faith, right? So anyone who has this pure devotional faith, this is the primary characteristic of bhakti. So when this primary characteristic of exclusive surrender to Krishna is there, then all the other qualities are dependent upon it. Hmm? So it is mentioned the others are just marginal characteristics. Hmm? So so even when the secondary characteristics are not there, if the primary characteristic there is there, one should accept that person as a pure devotee, because the secondary characteristics will gradually only manifest. Okay, so in Bhagavatam also we saw the secondary characteristics of a sadhu, right? Tidikshava karunika suhrida sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shanta sadhavo sadhubhushana. You know, all these tolerance, mercifulness, friendliness to all living entities, these are all secondary characteristics. But the primary characteristic is Mai ananyena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti ye dridam. Drida bhakti. Matkrite tyakta karmanas. One is willing to give up all other practices of karma, jnana, yoga for practicing bhakti. Tyakta swajana bandhava. And to the extent that even if their friends and relatives are unfavorable for the practice of bhakti, one may give up their association also. Okay. So this is actually, these are the characteristics of these are the primary characteristics of a sadhu. And the main problem with this thing is that when we criticize a sadhu based on his secondary qualities, uh, that is the problem of Vaishnava Ninda, where you may see the primary qualities are there, but when the secondary quality is missing, then we start criticizing that person, then that is called as Vaishnava Ninda. So I think this is where we ended our discussion last week. So uh, before we start today's discussion, if there are any quick comments, questions based on what we discussed last week or what we have recapped this week, we will take some questions. I think some questions I promised that I will answer. If those devotees who had asked this question, mm, if you can share your thoughts, you can, if you remember the question, you can please ask. Otherwise, whatever questions are coming, I will take. Hema Mataji, I'm unmuting you. Mataji, your voice is breaking. We are not able to hear you.
Regarding the last week when I asked, the have to be consciously developed by practicing devotee.
Okay. Should we...
Prabhu, the secondary qualities, they have to be consciously developed by...
Okay. I heard your question, Mataji. Even though it's breaking, but I heard your question. Okay. So should the secondary qualities be consciously developed or not? This is the question. So let us take this point. This is a very relevant point, and we have to discuss this in detail. Okay. So I will add one more slide here so that we can discuss this comfortably. Okay. So the question is, should we focus on cultivating the secondary qualities separately, or can they be cultivated? Okay. So now, if you see, let us go over the secondary qualities. Okay. Let us go over the secondary qualities that have been mentioned here. Okay. Mercy is a mode of goodness quality. Tolerance is a mode of goodness quality. So if one has Rajoguna or Tamoguna, it will be difficult to tolerate. The equanimity or being equal to all is a mode of goodness quality. Penance without injury to the body. Penance with injury is quality of mode of ignorance. Penance without injury to the body is mode of goodness quality. Truthfulness is mode of goodness. Purification is mode of goodness. Abhayam, sattva samshuddhi, mm, engage in the welfare of others is mode of goodness. Like that, if you see, practically all the qualities that are mentioned in this verse, or all the secondary qualities, are mode of goodness qualities. So, in order to actually develop these qualities, one has to actually be in mode of goodness. Uh, so for the secondary qualities to manifest, okay, matlab within the heart, we are not talking about externally trying to be tolerant. External manifestation is one. Even the air hostesses, they can do that, right? How much ever you may, one may not, the passengers may irritate them, they will keep smiling because that's what they are paid for, and they understand the value of what they are getting. They understand the value of their salary. Okay, so for the secondary qualities to actually manifest within the heart, mode of passion and mode of ignorance should at least go down, and mode of goodness should increase. Okay, and this happens gradually only. This is a gradual process. As we see in Bhagavatam, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridyantasto hi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suratsatam. He says, by hearing and chanting, by practice of devotional service, Anartha Nivritti happens. And then when Anartha Nivritti happens, then he says, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shlokya Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Then one reaches the stage of Nishta, right? And what is the symptom of Nishta? He says, Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kamalobhadayasche Chetayeter Anaviddam Sthitam Sattve Prasidati. So at that stage, the influence of mode of passion and mode of ignorance goes down, and mode of goodness gets firmly established. So at Nishta or beyond Nishta, so therefore, we can choose not to act proudly. We can choose not to act arrogantly, but to remove arrogance and pride from the heart, one should be free of the influence of mode of passion. And there are other unfavorable qualities which are born out of mode of ignorance. So this destruction of the unfavorable modes happens very gradually only. It is not overnight. It is not a choice. So action to some extent falls within the realm of choice, to some extent, I would say, because even in the material world, if your boss shouts at you, even though you might want to shout back, but because you value your job, you resist that desire to shout on your boss, and you maintain equanimity, right? So this is simple, you can say, cost benefit analysis. You know that my intolerance, the cost of my intolerance, I cannot pay back. You know that if I shout at him, unable to tolerate his criticizing me, I will lose my job and my family will suffer, and I can't afford to pay that much. We know that. So it's not that we have internally become tolerant, but because we value what we are getting, or we value what we might lose if I act in an intolerant way. So therefore we are able to act tolerantly. But the feeling is not in our hands immediately. I cannot say that, okay, I will internally feel very tolerant. That is not in our hands. As long as the mode of passion is raging, you cannot feel tolerant inside. We may act tolerantly because you understand that I cannot afford to um, lose my job. So, action to some extent, uh, when there is a reasonable cost benefit analysis, we can act in a particular way. But feeling, because tolerance or humility is not just based on external actions, but it is based on internal feeling. That is not possible unless there is eradication of the rajogun and tamogun, which is very gradual. So therefore ultimately, if if we have to concentrate on developing these qualities, we have to concentrate on practicing devotional service nicely. And by the practice of devotional service nicely, gradually when the influence of rajogun and tamogun goes down, naturally one will develop these qualities. Till then, we hear about the glories of bhakti, we hear about the how if I act in an intolerant way or in a very arrogant way, devotees will get offended, and if devotees get offended, my hard earned devotional credits will all go away. We understand that, or we understand that the devotees are very dear to Krishna. Ultimately I am trying to please Krishna. Why should I displease Krishna by criticizing the devotees? So it's not that we have become completely humble within our heart, but at least we are able to express external humility based on this simple cost benefit analysis. But for developing humility as a virtue within the heart, one has to subdue the modes, and that takes time. That takes diligent practice of devotional service, and only then one can and develop that. So so the point is that, can we um, actually um, uh, yeah, develop these qualities by focusing on them? Well, to some extent, yes. At least externally, you can act in a tolerant way and all that. But to internally develop it, we have to focus on devotional service. That is my understanding. So, is that relevant, Mataji? I think I think Hema Mataji asked. I will unmute you. Just hold on. Yeah, is that relevant, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay.
In fact, we feel this because when we listen all these qualities and we listen to the scriptures and teachings, we feel that all these qualities should be within us, but we don't have them. We are like, trying, but it doesn't happen. So
Yeah.
now we know that we have to focus only on bhakti more
Yeah.
and more.
Primarily. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Okay. Madhav Sharan Prabhu, I am unmuting you, Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam.
Dandavat, Prabhu.
My question was last time, like in any stage, can one go back to Godhead? Because I asked this question basically because Pratibimba Nama Bhas, it was mentioned that one can go back, I mean, Salokya mukti plus Shantarati he can attain even if one is chanting Pratibimba Nama Bhas.
Correct.
So you had partially little bit answered, and you told this week you will answer in any stage like Nishta or Ruchi or any stage can one go back to Godhead or like that.
Okay. So first we have to understand, bro, going back to Godhead is not our ultimate goal as practicing pure devotees. Going back to our Godhead um, uh, is not the goal of our life. We have to see, we have, as practitioners of pure devotional service, our goal is Krishna Prema. So if in order to achieve and not just Krishna Prema, and then establish a relationship with Krishna. So that is the goal of uh, practicing pure devotees. But other mixed devotees, they may have goal of um, you can say like liberation, personal liberation. You can say Vaikuntha. Okay, so for them, ultimately, in order to reach Krishna Prema, you need complete purification. Okay, and in order to achieve liberation without Krishna Prema, that level of purification is not needed. In fact, practicing pure devotees, they see desire for liberation as an obstacle, anartha. Whereas those who are aspiring after liberation, they don't see it as an anartha. So with that desire, they can achieve liberation, but they will certainly not attain, you can say, Krishna Prema. So yes, it is possible. This is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is called as Sukhaishwaryottara Mukti or Prema Sevottara Mukti. There are various levels of Mukti. Let's say, for example, if someone has to enter into IIT, if someone has to enter into IIT, he has to pass the JEE exam, joint entrance exam. So if he passes the joint entrance exam, then he can enter into IIT. But if someone wants to go and meet his friend inside the IIT campus, so should he also pass the JEE exam? That is not needed. So, therefore, in one sense, is when Prabhupada says, in order to go to the spiritual world, you must be free of the last traces of impurity, of last traces of any selfish desire. Is it true? Yes, of course. Because as followers of Prabhupada, we all accept that our goal is Krishna Prem. None of us are thinking that our goal is anything less than Krishna Prem. So Prabhupada is not addressing mixed devotees at all. Prabhupada is assuming that all my followers are accepting accepting the goal that I have given. For that, the last trace of impurity, selfish impurity, should be removed. But if for mixed devotees, the desire for liberation is not it's not an obstacle at all. It's not an impurity. They don't see it as an impurity at all. So for them to go there with that particular goal or it's possible. Just that they will not get the person who is going to meet his friend. He might get to enter into the IIT campus, but he will not come out of the campus with a BTech degree. That he cannot. But definitely he can enter into the campus. So similarly, the person who is a mixed devotee, he can go to Vaikuntha, but he cannot have prema. That is not possible. Is it okay, bro?
But Like if one is having lust, anger, greed, other things, how he can go back to Godhead, Prabhu?
I never said these people have lust, anger, greed.
Because Pratibimba Namabhas.
Pratibimba Namabhas, I did not say that they have lust, anger, greed. At sadhana level, they may have, but at the level of perfection, they will not have lust, anger, greed. They would have also overcome the influence of the lower moons.
Okay, Prabhu. That means in other stages, below Bhava stage, uh, can liberation means can one become Gopi, or can one become attain Vatsalya Bhav, or only Shanta or Dasya
Where below
in,
Bhava.
in Nishta, Ruchi and Asakti stage? If he's
The rasa manifests only at the stage of Bhava and Prema, not before that.
uh, because liberation in that Samipya Salokya, so they go to the same planet as Krishna. So that means Goloka Vrindavan Dham.
They
But
don't. You cannot go to Goloka Vrindavan. You can go to till Vaikunta. You can go with mixed faith, with mixed practicing mixed devotional service. You can go till Vaikunta, but to go to Goloka Vrindavan, you should have pure devotional faith only.
okay, Prabhu.
Okay.
One.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranat
Yes.
Pranam. Prabhuji, like you mentioned of going till mixed faith is going till Vaikunta. So a person who is in Vaikunta, can he develop pure devotional service from there and go back to Goloka Vrindavan?
That's a very hypothetical question, Madhu. Generally, um, uh, uh, these are situations where people are generally have quite first thing, in order for that person to go from there to Goloka Vrindavan, he needs that kind of an association where he gets attracted. And why would people who are really attracted to Krishna, why would they go to Vaikunta? They would go to Goloka only. So without that association from Vaikunta, why would he get attracted to Goloka? So that's a, yeah, if you are asking me, is it possible? Yes, why not? If from material world one can go to Goloka, why can't one go from Goloka? Why can't one go to Goloka to why can't one go to Goloka from Vaikunta? It is definitely possible. But the point is, how is it going to happen? One will get that desire only if one has the right kind of association. And how is that? Mm, mm, how is that association? Um, how will he get that association in Vaikunta? Because everyone who has reached there, they have reached there because they have attraction to Narayana. So how will those people who have attraction to Narayana create a desire for worshipping Krishna? So yeah, that's so. Um, and another point, another question, related question that is asked is, so should he have to come to earth and only then he will go? I mean, the question is, why would he come to earth? He is quite satisfied there in Vaikunta. So we are thinking that, oh, if he is in Vaikunta, he will not be satisfied. He will be perfectly satisfied. Gopakumar's case is a totally different case. So uh, Gopakumar's case is a totally different case that has to be separately taken. But this is not the general course of thing.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you. Because we got that doubt because of Gopakumara's pastimes only.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Dhanwad.
Okay. So there are many more hands. Okay. Padma Saki Mataji, I'm unmuting you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my humble obeisances to you and all. I have a few questions. If time allows, then maybe you can take them or I can write them separately. The first question was based on the last verse that was on the presentation slides, 3:25:22, which says that you mentioned that the primary quality of a sadhu would be one who as steady bhakti and exclusive devotion.
Hmm.
So Pratibimba, those who are under the Pratibimba category,
Mhm.
since it's mixed faith, would they
Mhm.
be considered as sadhu since they don't fulfill this criteria of exclusive devotion?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you are going to define sadhu in this way, certainly they will not fall within the category of sadhu.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. They won't.
Okay, all right, okay. And then the second question was in terms of the definition of the word ninda, where you mentioned it's animosity or malice.
Mhm.
My question is if this is something that's yet in the thinking stage, like maybe someone is harboring feelings about another devotee, but it's
Mhm.
not yet voiced out or expressed.
Mhm.
Is that counted as an offense or a ninda or not yet?
Well, it's just a question of time, because if it's
Mhm.
boiling inside, it'll somehow or other it will come out in some form or other. So
Okay.
yeah, it is not yet ninda, but it has a potential to become ninda very soon.
Okay. And then my third question was on in one of the slides you mentioned that in the pure Vaishnava resides Krishna's energy of bhakti, ladini, and samvit. And if one stays near a pure Vaishnava for some time, one can receive the bhakti energy flowing from his body.
Mhm.
Then you went on to mention about the dust from his feet, the jal, and all that.
Mhm.
So I, if Vapu is not present, Vani is as powerful as this, so we can get the bhakti energy through that. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we can yet get the bhakti energy even though we don't have physical presence with the Vaishnava.
Yeah. Yeah. If we have an opportunity, we should take advantage of the physical presence also.
Okay. It's not like this is higher than the other one. They are both equal. Yeah.
Yeah. But when Vapu is available, you cannot say no, no, I will take Vani only. So
Okay.
yeah.
And then my final question was on the slide that mentioned about one who has good fortune would come in association of devotees. I wanted some understanding of this good fortune. Is it something that we've done in our past lives? How does one get this good fortune? What is it that makes some people get association of devotees while others don't get association of devotees?
There is nothing that the devotee can do, or of course, before receiving that fortune, he is not a devotee. There is nothing that a person can do which will make him fortunate. It is the credit goes to the Vaishnava who is distributing that mercy. So if somehow or other, if he happens to be there when the Vaishnava is distributing that mercy and he willingly receives that mercy, then he accumulates Agyata Sukriti, and by that Agyata Sukriti, gradually, when it reaches a particular threshold, he develops faith in devotional service and he becomes it. So he cannot do anything for becoming qualified for that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Ram Kirti Prabhu, I'm unmuting you.
Hare Krishna, Dharutam Prabhu. Prabhuji, is sadhu ninda only considered if someone criticizes Vaishnava with this, who has this primary quality, and uh, uh, or it is something else that it has only the secondary qualities and not the primary qualities? That then offense, or is it offense that only when this primary quality that person has, some Vaishnava has? And if yes, then what level of primary quality? Because it is also a gray area. There may be levels in primary quality also. It is not that right from beginning it will have total exclusive surrender.
I mean, here we have to understand what is exclusive surrender.
Mhm.
Exclusive surrender means the surrender may be weak, strength may be very weak, but surrender is only to Krishna and not partially to some demigods, partially to someone else like that. But the level of surrender may be weak, but it has to be only towards Krishna. If that is there, that is good enough. Then he is a sadhu. So there, of course, the more advanced the sadhu is, the more is the effect of that ninda. But that is always a risky area, because now he may not be very advanced, but when he becomes more and more advanced, then the effect of that ninda will come back. We cannot plead that, oh, when I committed the offense, he was not so advanced. We cannot say like that.
Okay, okay, Prabhuji. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. And for secondary, if somebody has only secondary qualities and primary is not there,
Yeah, he is
then it is not an
considered a
ninda.
sadhu. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Okay,
it is
okay.
not
Thank you.
ninda, as long as he in future, if he becomes a devotee, then it becomes a problem.
So, in
That
short,
is
we
why
have to
that is why we should. That is why the whole point, actually, towards the end, you will see
Mhm.
the solution for sadhunanda is never offend anyone.
Yes. Okay, okay. I got it from your comment. Thank you, bro.
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. So, Shyam Rasik Prabhu, I am unmuting.
Prabhu, Gauna Lakshan,
Mhm.
because of lack of Sattva, one may be political. He might have Krishna Eka Sharana,
Hmm.
but because of Vasanas, one may be political, groupism karta hoga wo.
Hmm.
So with this, he's having serious aparadh.
Hmm.
And then he is doing devotional service also.
Hmm.
So how does he go ahead then? In the sense, his aparadhas are taking him back heavily.
Hmm.
Can you
So,
throw light?
yeah, I mean, it depends on, it's a, uh, devotional service is like a, uh, it's a vector quantity, right? So how much he progresses by proper practice of devotional service, and how much he loses by performing offenses. Let's say if he progresses 50 units by proper practice and loses 30 units by committing offenses, his net progress would be 20 units. But if he if his progress is 20 units by proper practice, and by offenses he loses 40 units of devotional credits, then eventually he will end up outside Shraddha. He will lose his devotional qualification. That's all.
So same what you had explained that applies here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there Krishna Eka Sharana will not come so much into picture as Vaishnava Aparadha.
No, they are both are opposed to each other. It depends on which of the vector is stronger vector. Both are 180-degree opposed vector. So if Krishneka Sharanam is stronger than the aparad mentality, then his net effect will still be some progress. But if his aparad mentality is stronger than his Krishneka Sharanam, then he will eventually lose that faith in devotional service.
But Krishna Eka Sharana and Aparadha mentality, they do not stem from the same thing. No? Krishna Eka Sharana is a spiritual quality, whereas Aparadha is coming from gunas or vasanas. Still, it holds true.
No, aparad can come from gunas, but then he should understand his value system should say that even though, but that a devotee is very dear to Krishna. So, so therefore, his value system should save him, ideally, from exhibiting those qualities towards devotees. So, so yeah, of course, any bad quality is born out of conditioning only. So, and and also this specific animosity towards devotees would come due to bad association. If you associate with improperly, then those who possess a different value system than the devotees, then when you associate with them very quickly, we also start evaluating devotees based on that value system, actually. So then we start committing ninda and offenses. So yeah, bad association will definitely lead to that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so Ganesh Prabhu, I'm unmuting. Ganesh Prabhu.
Hello, Haribol.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I have two questions. One is from that Hema Mataji's question, where Prabhuji you explained about action and feeling,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
regarding choice. So,
Yeah.
Prabhuji, in both the cases, whether I'm acting on the basis of cost benefit analysis or on the basis of devotional service, both are actions only, right? It is a matter of choice only, right?
Yeah.
So, I
Well,
was not able to understand that particular part a little bit. That is my
no,
first question. Yeah.
no, even I see. Okay, I will answer your question, but I see that you are muted. But how am I able to hear your voice? Because my Zoom thing says that you are still muted, but I am able to hear you. This is
No,
Ganesh.
Prabhuji, I'm unmuted. I'm
Okay.
unmuted on my side.
Okay, your side. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, so the point is that as an tolerance or humility as an internal virtue, where you feel tolerant, where you feel humbled inside, that internal virtue can be developed only when there is a subduing of the lower modes, and when sattva guna becomes prominent. But still, based on so that action, when a person who has really spiritually progressed and exhibiting humility externally, that is stemming from an internal feeling of humility. So that person is called really humble. um,
Okay.
mm, and uh, and but a person who is seeing, who is making this cost benefit analysis, and accordingly he is consciously trying to act humbly, even though internally he may not feel that humility, but Krishna will reward him for that. Okay, even though internally he is feeling very arrogant, but still, in order to protect his bhakti, he is sort of mm, uh, subduing it. So Krishna says that okay, he will reward him for that. So gradually that person will progress, because he is acting in a way that is very appropriate, and that which is very favorable to Krishna, very pleasing to Krishna. Even though internally he may not be very comfortable acting that way, but nevertheless, for the pleasure of Krishna, he is able to give up his likes and dislikes and act in a way that will be pleasing to Krishna. So Krishna definitely becomes pleased, and he allows him to progress more, like that.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, isn't this is leading to the second case?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So it is a matter of again action only that we are taking the choice to come up, right? But gradually that because it is more of
Yeah, yeah.
sattva which
No,
is
correct, correct. Choice is there, but in action there is a choice. Uh, but you cannot have a choice to feel in a particular way.
hmm, that's true. Yeah.
That is there. If there is a hurt feeling inside, it is there. You cannot choose that, okay, I will not feel hurt, like that. If it is
Okay.
there, it is there. The hurt feeling is coming from a bruised false ego, which is severely rajoguni. So
Okay.
when the trajogun is not there, then your feeling will not go away. But you
Yeah.
can
Well,
still look at the value system. You can still look at the cost benefit analysis and say, okay, but even though I feel like thrashing this fellow, but I will not do it because it will not be pleasing to Krishna.
okay. Okay. Yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the first question. Prabhuji, second question is from Padmasakhi Mataji's part, where she asked about Ninda. You know, when you're like you want to voice it out, you said, it may later on. Right now, you may not be voicing it out, but Ninda is there, which may fructify. You
Mm,
know.
yeah,
So, Prabhuji, how we can curb it at the like it's like said nib it in the bud itself.
that's what in this chapter we are going to discuss about.
Okay, okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Shakti Mataji, I'm unmuting.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Actually, I um, I came up with a question like one devotee asked, "Why you chant like that?" Then I'm suddenly unable to answer. Then later on, like whatever that class we are studying and thing I understood. Okay, Krishna, I say my understanding. You please correct me if something is wrong. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot tell whether it's correct or wrong, Mataji, because it's a very personal question that she has asked. She has asked, "Why do you chant?" So, I mean, uh, so you can share why do you chant, whether it is right or wrong. I mean, that is why you are chanting. So, how can it be right or wrong actually? Because
No, like this understanding point about this our class and things.
okay, you can share.
Uh, I chant because Krishna is ultimate reality and Krishna is non-different from his name. So when I chant Krishna, I'm serving Krishna. That is the highest service. So chanting, I'm not getting love of Godhead. Why means then this class helps me to understand that there are two, only that sambandha jnana, the lack, and the other thing, the process something. So I'm getting clarified about this tattva also. And the process, see, by the mercy, I got into IITI, like JE or something I didn't write, but devotee's mercy, I'm put into IIT. So there, okay, you have to pass our love of God, you have to get. So there are things and all there. It is not the process wrong that I have to develop or slowly overcome this anathas. What is this? What if I really love Krishna? I have to more and more surrender. I have to do things in such a way he wants, like that, unconditionally, like that. That's what I coined.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what is
Yeah,
it's
Krishna
my
is non-different from his
understand.
name. Yeah, Krishna is non-different from his name. So chanting his holy name is personally serving him. So, I mean, till there I understood whatever you spoke, and that is perfect. So, and then personally you want to please Krishna, and this is what the Acharya Parampara has recommended as a prime means of pleasing Krishna. So you're chanting. So I think this much I understood, Mataji. That is right understand.
One more thing, Prabhu. So all these, this is like uh, Krishna. That holy name only will evaluate everything. Like what I feel like truly, what is in my heart. That holy name will evaluate, right? No other, no outside and all. Like holy name itself evaluate. That's it, right, Prabhu?
Yeah, we will also know what is there in our heart. We also know for what purpose we are chanting.
Okay.
So the holy name can definitely know, but we also know. I mean, it's not that we cannot say that, oh, I don't know what is there in my heart. I mean, definitely we know because there are two kshetragyas, right?
Okay.
Knower of the body, both gross and subtle. There is the Paramatma also knows, the Jivatma also knows.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu.
Hare.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Venkat Govind Prabhu. I mean,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, I am a little bit confused in understanding the vector diagram which you drew. Like if you have done 50% devotional service and 30% aparad, then the net will be 20%. But in the context of we are not supposed to do offenses on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. In that context, how can we understand this 50 minus 30 is equal to 20? Because that it means that okay, I can do nice devotional service at the same time I can do aparadha, which will be nullified by the nice devotional service, and the net balance is 20%.
yeah, I mean, who wants their hard-earned devotional credits lost due to offenses? So no one wants actually. So if you have earned 50 units of devotional credits by daily waking up and chanting the holy name, attending Mangalarti, serving the devotees, and all that, and uh, you get into a problem with a devotee, you severely criticize him, and in 10 minutes you lose uh, the credits that you have your hard-earned credits, which you have earned in one full year. I mean, this is like a big loss. So how would it make people feel complacent or easy? Matlab, definitely, you know, your hard-earned credits, no one wants to lose it just like that.
Prabhuji, my understanding was whatever aparadhas we have done, we have to suffer for that, and whatever devotional credits which we have gained or earned, to that extent we will be having some credits, pious credits or whatever it is.
No, that
So
is
how can
what you say is right in terms of material piety and material sins. So whatever material piety that you have gained, that cannot offset the material sins. But when it comes to devotional credits and aparad, it is not like that. They directly cancel each other, actually. Because aparad is, bhakti is Radha and aparad is negative Radha. So to the extent that you commit negative aparad, it is like negative bhakti. So, uh, so, so, so it directly cancels one's devotional. So yes, you have to suffer for the offenses. What is that suffering? Actually, you will lose your devotional credits. That's what.
Okay. Okay,
That
thank
is
you very much.
why it is compared to mad elephant. So what does a mad elephant do? It actually literally pulls out the devotional creeper. So which means it's lost actually.
Okay. Okay, bro. Thank you very much, bro.
Hare Krishna. Okay, I think we have taken too many questions. I think we'll end. I will again open up for questions the next time we pause. So I think we have taken a lot of questions. We have not even started today's session. So we will continue. So we discussed that the main issue is when we criticize a sadhu based on his secondary qualities, uh, there is the problem of sadhu ninda, because the secondary qualities will gradually follow. Uh, so, uh, so therefore we have to look out for the primary quality only. Hmm? And bhakti has the potential to purify all those unfavorable unfavorable qualities which are there, right? So okay, so here it is mentioned that a Vaishnava may be criticized on 4 counts. So you can criticize a Vaishnava on 4 counts. First is his caste by birth. Then second is previous sins or faults in this life. So previous sins or faults in this life. So before coming to bhakti, he might have lived a very sinful life. So you judge him even after coming to Krishna consciousness, that they bhakti mein aane se pehle, you know how he lived his life. He was a gunda, or he was stealing, or he lived in a prison, whatever. Or an unpremeditated accidental act of sin. So when he commits an objectionable activity due to the influence of his um, bad habits, which he is not able to immediately give up, one may criticize a devotee because of that. Or the fourth is present traces of previous sinful activity. Uh, like maybe he was smoking or chewing tobacco before coming to Krishna consciousness, and that has permanently stained his teeth, right? So now you see that he has um, stained teeth, and you look at it and you say that he must not be a very good Vaishnava. You see, he has tobacco stains in his teeth. So even though now, right now, he has given up chewing tobacco, but there are present traces of previous sinful activity. So on these 4 counts, a Vaishnava may be criticized actually. He may be criticized, but he should not be actually. though all these conditions may be present in a Vaishnava, they are insubstantial grounds for the criticism of a Vaishnava. So he says, uh, not one, not two, not three, but all these four uh, things may be there in a Vaishnava, but still one should not criticize a Vaishnava. They are insubstantial grounds for criticizing a Vaishnava. One who so blasphemes a Vaishnava will be punished by Yamaraj. So will be punished by Yamaraj means what? Actually, the Bhagavatam says that a devotee shall never be touched by Yamaraj. Okay. And here he says a Nindaka or a blasphemer will be punished by Yamaraj. So which means when one criticizes a devotee, gradually he becomes a non-devotee actually. Gradually. If occasional very not so severe criticism may make him lose little bit of devotional credits, and if he's a generally very sincere devotee, little bit of devotional credits he may lose. But if his criticism and his critical attitude is uh, is much more severe than the fair credits that he gains, devotional credits that he gains by proper practice of devotional service, then actually he ends up outside the realm of devotional service only. So then if he lands outside the realm of devotional service, then he becomes fit to be um, punished by Yamaraj. Right? That's what this verse says. Because the Vaishnava is spreading the glories of the Lord's name, the Lord does not tolerate such criticism of a Vaishnava. Okay. Giving up dharma, yoga, sacrifice, and jnana for the name of Krishna, the Vaishnava is the topmost person. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. He has given up all the other practices and has taken to pure practice of Krishna, fully surrendering to Krishna, having full faith in Krishna. If such a devotee is criticized, Krishna becomes very offended. Right? And he says, and even if there appears some bad element or fault in a person, if he has the chief characteristic, that is surrender to Krishna, he must be considered a sadhu and to be respected and served by all. There may be some small element of fault or whatever, big element of fault also. But if the chief characteristic is there, that is, if he is surrendered to Krishna, then he must be considered a sadhu and he must be respected and served by all. This is Krishna's statement in Bhagavad Gita, right? So he says, Apichet su duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hisaha. He says, even if there may be some durachari tendencies in that person due to past sinful life, but if he is worshipping Krishna, if he is worshipping only Krishna, no other demigod, and if he is trying to worship Krishna by Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam, by these limbs of devotional service, then you cannot criticize him for the lack of secondary qualities. That's what he says. So he says, when one has developed a taste for chanting the pure name, it is said that chanting just one time will destroy the influence of all the past sins. Right? Some remnants of those sins may still remain, but they will completely vanish by the influence of the holy name. So, by the influence of the holy name, it will go away. Right? Just like Prabhupada gives the example of when you switch off the fan will not immediately stop. Its past momentum will keep it running for a while, but after some time it will stop. because you are switched off. So similarly, um, when you start practicing bhakti, it is like switching off sins. But still, due to the past of living a severely sinful life, one may still continue for a while. But then after some time, it will stop. So Prabhupada elsewhere, he says that don't criticize a dirty person who is standing below the shower or who is taking a bath. You may say, oh, he's dirty, he's dirty, he's dirty. Are he is taking bath? Na? Wait after 5 minutes. He will take a nice bath and come out, and all the dirt will be gone. So if someone has taken up to the path of bhakti, the path itself is fully capable of purifying him. So if we are criticizing him for his impurities, then it really shows that we have meager faith in the process of devotional service. So if we think that his practice of bhakti cannot purify him, then we also don't have faith that my practice of bhakti will purify me, will purify myself. So therefore, we have to be careful. Since these traces of sin will go, that person is known as the most righteous person. So Krishna says, Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati. Kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranashyati. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Very soon, all the traces of sins will go away and he will become a very externally righteous person also. So he says, therefore, my dear Arjuna, you go and loudly proclaim that my devotee shall never perish. Right? So then he says, of course, if the materialist sees those traces of sin in a Vaishnava sadhu, he may consider that the sadhu is just like a materialistic sinner. So this is an ordinary person's vision. Aam Admi ka vichar. This is an ordinary person's vision. When he sees sinful tendencies in a sadhu, he may say, oh, ye log bhi aisa hi hai. These people are also like this only. Uh, but uh, but a devotee, as a devotee, we are not expected to see like that. We are expected to see, oh, he is practicing bhakti. So sooner or later, even though currently these tendencies are there, sooner or later these tendencies will go away on the strength of his practice of devotional service. So therefore, we cannot see like a common man. But the person who has these sinful tendencies, he has to understand that I am living in a world which is filled with common men. So therefore, I have to be careful. I may have many of these sinful tendencies. I am representing Srila Prabhupada and his mission. I am representing all the devotees. I can't afford to be a black spot. So therefore, one should be very careful. I have this mission of protecting the name of the devotees. I have this mission of protecting the name of Krishna. I have the mission of protecting the name of Srila Prabhupada and his mission. So therefore, I should try to tolerate my sinful inclinations. The person, the devotee with sinful inclination, he should think like this. Whereas another devotee who is seeing sinful inclination in him, he should see, oh, he is practicing bhakti. Very soon all these things will go away. Like that. Right? If he should criticize the sadhu because the sadhu has a trace of sin coming from his previous sinful activity, he is committing sadhu ninda. So this is very clear. When you see a devotee is acting in an inappropriate way, we should say, oh, he is practicing bhakti. His practice of bhakti will take care of it. It will purify him, and then let it go. That's it. Okay, so this is about don't criticize a sadhu based on his secondary qualities. So we will see one more theme, and then I will pause for questions. Results of sadhu ninda. So what happens if one commits sadhu ninda? It is mentioned, he is to be criticized, he is to be considered a rascal because of his fault of criticizing a Vaishnava, and by this Namaparad, he falls directly under the wrath of Krishna. Krishna is eager to punish that person. Whoever criticizes such a Vaishnava goes to hell birth after birth, for there is no path for liberation other than bhakti, and bhakti is obtained only by the mercy of the Vaishnavas. And you have criticized the Vaishnavas. So because of that, you don't obtain bhakti, you lose bhakti actually. So he says, one who so blasphemes a Vaishnava will be punished by Yamaraj. Because the Vaishnava is spreading the glories of the Lord's name, the Lord does not tolerate such criticism of a Vaishnava. Right? So we have seen this before. Giving up dharma, yoga, sacrifice, and jnana for the name of Krishna, the Vaishnava is the topmost person. Criticism is a serious offense. Right? Okay. So therefore, we have discussed about this theme of don't criticize a sadhu based on his secondary qualities. Bhakti will purify him. And what are the results of sadhananda? We have discussed this. But before we move on to the next theme, if there are any quick comments, we will take for a few minutes. Anything? Okay. So if there are no, Yash Prabhu, I am unmuting.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Dandat Pran Prabhuji. So I have a question, like if we are criticizing a person who is not yet who is not a devotee, so like if in future he becomes a devotee, and so will we get the
reaction for that?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Therefore, we should not criticize anyone. We should not offend anyone. That is, see, that is one thing. If in future they become a devotee, that's a problem. But it is not possible to currently criticize, to be very critical and disrespectful towards others, and suddenly become very respectful towards the devotees. It's not possible only actually. So, is that okay, Prabhu? Yes, Prabhu. Generally, if you have asked a question, don't quickly unmute yourself till you are satisfied with the answer, because I won't know. Yes, Prabhu, you can unmute yourself. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay. So, Ruchi Mataji, I'm unmuting.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, प्रभु जी, my question is, people say भक्ति में पुण्य भी जल जाता है और पाप भी. प्रभु जी, पाप तो जलता है, जैसे even अगर आपने एक बार भी शुद्ध नाम लिया तो सब sinful reactions, all sinful reactions are burnt away. But I also hear that sometimes even at the stage of namabhas, all sinful reactions go away. So that is my first question. And second question is, when do all the piety also burns away?
Yeah, I mean, so what happens when one practices bhakti? So, when one practices bhakti, definitely sins are burnt away, and piety also gets burnt away. But when we say, Arey, my piety is what is needed for protecting me, why would piety get burned away? Because Krishna says, okay, you don't need piety anymore to take care of you, because I am willing to take care of you.
So at what stage does this happen, Prabhuji?
The moment one develops faith.
All his punya is also burnt away at the point of Shraddha.
Yeah.
And one more thing, Prabhuji, that we were discussing so much about Vaishnava Aparadh. Sometimes, unfortunately, in the association of devotees, we see that some devotee has suddenly fallen or done something which is very not at all acceptable by others. So at that stage, he has been a good devotee before. But as we hear in Apichet Sudurachar 9.31, so should that act be even notified to the temple authority, even if we don't know notify anyone's wrong act, that is also wrong. But if we notify, will that be Vaishnava Apradha?
Well, notification in itself will not become Vaishnava Aparadha. But if we judge him, if we start criticizing him, that is definitely Vaishnava Aparadha.
Okay. And suppose we see that some Vaishnav has not behaved appropriately to the mark in any respect. So next time, do we go to the temple? Should we still wish the Vaishnava if he's wishing us from the distance, even though his behavior has been slightly objectionable or over any respect?
Well, I mean, unless if it is going to directly affect you or in any way, in a severe way, like he might come and blast you or something like that. In that case, you don't have to. You can always keep a distance, but at the same time, we should not be critical.
We should not be critical. But Prabhuji, unfortunately, we find some people taking undue advantage because everybody is resisting Vaishnava Aparadha in the temple. So some people unfortunately seem to be taking undue advantage of this. Would that not be a Maha Aparadha in that case?
What do you mean by taking undue advantage?
Undue advantage means they know, like, suppose, okay, I have been in the institution for like suppose 10 years now, I am senior, everybody is respecting me, so just trying to get some extra leverage, in the sense I am saying something, everybody will believe me, anything like that. When anybody is trying to get extra leverage on others, or just because he's a senior devotee and everybody is trusting him to somehow or the other utilize the faith for his own personal, any kind of personal interest, would that also not affect the Vaishnava also?
Yeah, it will definitely affect him
at some level. Yeah, because in our daily day-to-day interactions, so many people have now started coming to the temple, so many Kanishthas, Madhyas and Uttamas. So we don't know, like Uttamas are very rare we meet, Madhyamas are also very mediocre in category, but we meet lot of Nishthas. So when we meet lot of Kanishthas, we actually don't know, like, and you find anything which is not absolutely to the mark, so you don't know whether you should point out softly or you should not point out softly. So that is why I wanted to ask this question.
It depends on your relationship with that person, Mataji. If you have invested in giving something very tangible to that person's benefit, then you can point out. But if you have not done anything, then you don't have any right to go and point out.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Ganesh Prabhu, I am unmuting.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, Prabhuji, this is just a silly question which just popped up in your last question and answer session. Prabhuji, as we know that holy name, Nama Prabhu is non-different. Krishna is non-different from his holy name, right? And we also said like chanting is serving Krishna. Okay, so I was like, Prabhuji, how is chanting serving Krishna? Nama Prabhu. Like in our case, like when we say serving means serving deities or feeding him, serving Vaishnava. So how is chanting serving Nama Prabhu? How we are serving Krishna? Chanting is serving. So
because chanting, as Prabhupada said, oh my dear Radharani, my dear Krishna, please engage me in your service. So expressing your desire to serve is also as good as serving, actually, because you're asking for service.
Okay. Any other answer or something, Prabhuji, for this? I mean, just expressing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely expressing your desire to serve. And
but how am I serving Nama Prabhu then? I'm just expressing my desire. How am I serving the Nama Prabhu?
Because that is the way. There are different ways of serving. There are different ways of serving different persons.
Okay.
The holy name is served by chanting.
Okay.
So yatra gayanti madbhakta tat krishnami narada. So what is the essence of service? The essence of service is desire to please.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is the essence of service.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And when Krishna says, I am pleased when you chant my name, and for the pleasure of Krishna when you chant, it is service.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. This last point was convincing. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Haribol.
So Yash Prabhu, I mean.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Sorry, there was some follow-up thing with the first thing which I asked, that if we criticize a non-devotee. So actually, I just want to mention a little scenario. Like if we want to inform a devotee about another person who is not a devotee, but but that will involve the criticism about the person in order to inform the devotee that he should associate or not, or something like that. So in that case, if it is necessary to inform the person about the situation, so shall we criticize, or shall we, with the mood of informing the person about the effect, or about the result of associating with that person or something like that? So is it what needs to be done? Because if we genuinely want to make sure that the devotee does not get into that association, and also side by side there is also like this, there is one taste in fault finding thing. So when we criticize, we just go on. So in such situations, what should we do?
I mean, bro, we know generally whether our desire is genuinely to help that person or pull down that person. So as long as you are very clear that the person to whom you are trying to inform, you have genuine well-wishing nature, you want to really do good for him, and you have no desire of actually pulling down that other devotee. If you are very clear about it, then we can go ahead.
Okay, please.
Okay, so I think we'll move ahead. The next theme we will discuss, which is what is the main cause of sadhu sangha? So what is the main reason for sadhu sangha? He says sadhu ninda, I'm sorry. Asat sangha is the main cause of sadhu ninda. That's the next theme we are going to discuss. Unfavorable non-Krishna conscious association is the main cause of sadhu ninda. He says, because association with those who are not devotees is bound to produce disrespect for devotees, which is sadhu ninda, the devotee is careful to avoid such association. And the problem is, the more that association is sort of certain association are purely non-devotional and we will easily avoid it, right? But certain kinds of association, you are not very sure whether it is devotional or materialistic. The closer it is to Krishna consciousness, the more vague the differentiation becomes, and we end up, say for example, there are organizations which are involved in protecting cows. So this is I am taking a very sensitive example actually. So there are organizations which are engaged in protecting cows. As devotees, we also want to protect cows. But that organization which is engaged in protecting cows, they may be very genuine, but they may not necessarily be practicing pure devotional service. Right? I am taking a very, a very hazy example, because the extreme examples are very easy to understand. I'm taking a very hazy example, but the point is that if you go close to them, they are doing something very nice, commendable. We appreciate it. But if you see, they for them ultimately they worship Krishna, because Krishna likes the cows. Hmm? But we worship the cows because Krishna likes the cows. So there is a difference. So for them, if Krishna does, if, in our case, if Krishna likes donkeys, then we will worship the donkeys. Of course, Krishna does like the donkeys also, but he especially likes the cows. So, so, so we worship, we specially worship the cows because Krishna loves the cows. But if Krishna loves the donkeys, we will worship the donkeys. But if Krishna would love the donkeys, those people who worship the, who are trying to serve the cows, they will not worship Krishna. So there is a big difference, very subtle difference. They also worship cows, they also worship Krishna. We also worship cows, we also worship Krishna. But there is a difference. So therefore, when we associate more with such kind of organizations, or like borderline Hindu organizations and things like that, anything that is Hindu is not necessarily devotional. So many times we borrow those ideologies and we start judging devotees like that. So cow protection is one of the limbs of devotional service, taking care of cows, respecting cows. But many times when we associate with these kind of organizations, we more than even chanting, we start valuing cow protection. And we start judging Vaishnavas that they बैठ के खुद के लिए इतना जपा कर रहा है, are you doing anything to protect the cows? So we start judging devotees like that. So and what happens gradually, we start seeing non-devotees as being more advanced than devotees because you have borrowed their value system. So when we associate with non-devotees or pseudo-devotees or borderline devotees, so then their mixed value system is borrowed by us, and through that mixed value system we will start judging devotees, and we will see that actually these devotees are not very advanced, and then we start criticizing them. And of course this is a very very borderline example that I gave. And similarly, if we associate with materialists, then again we will borrow their value system, and through that we will start judging the devotees, and we will start finding faults with the devotees. So he says materialistic association or asat sangha is of two types: association with women and association with those devoid of devotion to the Lord. Of course, here association to women generally means associating with the opposite sex. This is not a misogynistic usage here. This is it here. Woman means opposite sex. Women for men and men for women when the mood is of mutual exploitation and enjoyment. That is what it means. Association with women means associating with women not according to the Vedic tradition. This association with women, which is not authorized by scripture, is divided into association with women outside of marriage for the purpose of sex life, and association within marriage where one is controlled by one's wife. One is controlled by one's wife means one's purpose is sense gratification only. Therefore, he is controlled. Otherwise, one would be controlled by the dharmic principles, right? So, like that. Thus, only if one is married according to prescribed rules and is following the rules for married life, in which the wife is submissive to the husband and the husband acts as a sadhu. So this is condition 1, this is condition 2. One condition for the wife, another condition for the husband. Both. Only then is the association considered to be bona fide. If it is not bona fide, the recommendation is not divorce. If it is not bona fide, the recommendation is start working towards making it bona fide, right? Other types of association are considered asat. Okay. So, this is one kind of, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Stri Sangi Eka Sadhu Krishna Abhakta are. There are two types of asat sanga. One is uh, uh, associating with the opposite sex with the for the purpose of enjoyment, and second is associating with atheists. The second type of asat association or association with non-devotees is of three types. There are three types of non-devotee association. First is association with the Mayavadis. Second is association with pretenders. And the third is association with atheists. Three categories of non-devotee association. Okay. So all three are very unfavorable for one's progress on the path of devotion service. Mayavadis believe that the Lord and the Jivas are both temporary entities and that the Lord's Murti form is material. This is Mayavadis. Right? So Mayavadis believe that the Lord and the Jivas are both temporary entities and that the Lord's Murti form is material. Avajananti mam muda manushim tanumashritam. So when the Lord appears in a human form, they misjudge him to be material, just like any other human being. So then the second are the pretenders or dharmadvaji. Okay. So who are the pretenders? The pretenders, even though without genuine devotion or renunciation, pretend to be devotees to make a living. So ultimately they want to make money, so they show up as if they are very advanced. And the third are the atheists. So the atheists do not believe in any form of God. Now, these people may claim to be devotees and may be accepted by the public as such, but if one rejects such people, it is not considered sadhuninda. So there may be another some so-called sadhu who may be speaking something, who may seemingly speak something from the scriptures, but certainly is not pure devotional service, and it is mixed with a lot of mayavad. Then if we reject such people, that is not considered as sadhu ninda, right? Then he says, furthermore, one who criticizes a person who gives up these asat people should also be rejected and avoided. If someone says, hey, you have rejected this sadhu, everyone is calling him a sadhu, but you have rejected, so yeah, you are fit to be criticized. So such association should also be given up. Therefore, the serious devotee who gives up asat sanga, which causes sadhu ninda, and exclusively takes shelter in the name, will certainly receive the treasure of prema. So therefore, a serious devotee who gives up this kind of asat sanga, which is the cause of sadhu ninda, and exclusively takes shelter in the name, he will certainly receive the treasure of prema. It may be observed that in order to proceed properly to prema, one must be able to distinguish the devotee from the non-devotee. So therefore, you should know whether he is a devotee or a pretender or a mayavadi or an atheist. The ability to make that basic distinction should be there. Otherwise, you say, oh, sab sadhu hai, sab sadhu hai. You know, that is not the kind of recommendation, right? He says, therefore, the serious devotee who gives up asat sanga, which causes sadhu ninda, and exclusively takes shelter in the name will certainly receive the treasure of prema. So, so therefore, a serious devotee who gives up the sadhananda and exclusively takes shelter in the name will certainly receive the treasure of prema. It may be observed that in order to proceed properly to prema, one must be able to distinguish the devotee from, of course, we have seen this before. I'm sorry. Like that. So this is the theme where asat sanga is the cause of prime cause of sadhananda. So Radha Pramod Prabhu, you have raised your hands. I am going to unmute you now. You can please ask.
Bro, like we say sadhus, and if you see in Vrindavan, there are so many sadhus, and they also chant and they also speak about Krishna. But some are apasampradaya, and we don't know some of them, but they are also chanting. So we consider them sadhus. Like if you ask me the name, like Harivam Goswami, and many of them, they go and attend their classes who are in their line. But there is something like if we say okay they are wrong, it is a criticism, sadhaninda, or they are also sadhus.
Like, I mean, we go to Vrindavan and we hardly have time. You know, there's so many holy places to visit. So, I mean, we don't spend time evaluating people. We know definitely Krishna Balaram temple is there, and there are bona fide sadhus there who give classes. We hear from them, or we hear Prabhupada's tape, or we hear our Guru Maharaj's tape, and then visit the holy places. And then
now they are on online too, because without going Vrindavan, some of the devotees, they hear their YouTube lectures because they are also from Vrindavan. They say they also give very nice class. So in that case, what we should tell them?
Well, this question was actually asked when I was in Krishna Balaram temple. One day I gave, they requested me to give Bhagavatam class there. They asked the same question to me at the end of the class, because this is a reality in Vrindavan. I mean, more than if you say like 100% attendance in Guru Puja, after Guru Puja, you have only 25% attending the Bhagavatam class, 75% is gone. So, and I thought the 75% they have gone for, they must be having some work or something. But they told no, 75% have gone to different temples where different other sadhus are giving class. I mean, I would say it is, in one sense, we have to take responsibility for that also. People generally don't leave because of lack of proper shastric understanding. That may be one of the reasons. But the most important reason why people leave is because they don't experience the warmth of Vaishnava affection here. So, and many times what happens, we very severely criticize them on their face in the Bhagavatam class, because we have the mic, we have the Vyasasan, and thinking that we are now going to correct them, but in doing that we end up alienating them more and give them all the more reason to go there. So, so basically, rather than criticizing them, or rather than even judging the sadhu who is giving, because we don't know whether what he is speaking is proper Vaishnava Siddhanta or not. But the point is, if we give that warm, affectionate experience to our devotees, then I think we have a very good chance of retaining them and not losing them to all these different speakers, I feel.
We should not make any comments on the sadhus if we hear the lecture.
If we don't know, I mean, if we don't know whether he is speaking, ultimately, na Prabhu, ultimately it is all free will. You can, if that person is really looking up to you, for spiritual guidance and he trusts you, then we can definitely tell that, they may speak something which may not be in line with what Prabhupada has spoken. You may lose trust in Prabhupada. So please be a little careful. But if they don't have trust in us, then it is very difficult actually. We cannot tell.
Clear. Thank you.
Very good. Krishna Rupa Mataji, I'm unmuting.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for this wonderful class. I had this question of pretenders. Now, if you could go to the pretending slide, which says that be away from pretenders.
Yeah, this is the one.
Yeah, the pretenders, though, yeah, without genuine devotion, renunciation. Now, many times, actually, even I feel that I am like a pretender because when you're chanting, and in the temple hall, when you're chanting, you might be really very sitting erect and chanting, but there are thousands of thoughts going on in your mind. So is that really pretender? And then, so I to become a pretender, and then people should not associate with me also then?
Well, I mean, it's very clearly mentioned that if you want to, we may also have some level of desire for name, fame, glorification, and all that while we are. But does that make us into pretenders? But they are not whom what is mentioned here. So pretenders are those who do not have genuine devotion, which means they don't have anya bilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam. They don't have that. But just to make a living, they pretend to practice, which means, but whereas in our case, we may be struggling with the anartha of name, fame, glorification, and all that. But still praying that Krishna, please um, uh, remove this desire for name, fame, glorification. So if that is our active prayer, then definitely we are not pretenders.
Okay. So now you mean to say that this particular line which says that pretend to be devotees to making a living, which means if you see that there are many Bhagavad Kathakars and they try to, give big kathas, trying to show that we are really very, in love with Krishna and all. But at the back of this stage, they are actually extracting money from whoever is sponsoring that Bhagavad Katha.
Yeah, I mean, well, I cannot tell for sure whether they are pretenders because where that money is used, it may be used for uh, uh, a holy purpose. I don't know.
Yeah, this I'm talking outside ISKCON, not inside ISKCON actually. Outside ISKCON.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to comment, but
where there is no sampradaya also connected. I mean, they don't even know which sampradaya they are from. Like we at least come in a bona fide
I think these
sampradaya.
are like strongly judgmental words because what they know, what they don't know. I don't think we have sufficiently, probably we know them sufficiently to come to such conclusions. But hypothetically considering that, yes, these people do not know which sampradaya they belong to, and they are purely doing it for money. If all these conditions are actually true, then yes, they definitely fall within the category of pretenders. But we do not know whether a particular person falls in that category or not unless we know him very clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, we don't need to judge them also who is a pretender, who is not.
Yeah, I mean, the point is we have so much actually. The ISKCON Desiratory is filled with so much. There are so much live Krishna Katha going on in our own ISKCON temples. Why do we have to bother about some non-ISKCON Bhagavad Sapta speaker? Because we don't have time. We don't have so much our own. Guru Maharaj has spoken, so much Prabhupada has spoken. We don't have time to hear all that. So why do we have to bother about them?
No, why this topic came out because you were saying that in Vrindavan there are 75% of people who go out and listen to different this from that
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for that, when you say that, the point is we have to, uh, uh, that's what the main issue is. People leave not mostly because they are not getting very good katha. People leave mostly because they don't feel a sense of belonging, and people don't feel a sense of belonging because they don't get that warm association, that warm affection. So that is the main reason people leave. Otherwise, if we think that they are leaving only because of uh, the charismatic katha, then actually we are just scratching the surface. That is not the real reason. Actually, we have not figured it out really.
Okay. Prabhuji, one more question I had regarding this api chetu suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak. So it says that even if somebody commits the most abominable action, he is actually still to be considered a sadhu. And in the very next, text, he says he becomes quickly righteous and Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma.
Yeah.
So my understanding to this was like what I have heard is that say that somebody has committed a most abominable act, and Krishna says he is to be considered a sadhu. And we who are, external, who is actually looking at that person, okay, yes, he's a sadhu, but because he's very determined and he is actually moving towards that path. So, so in one of the lectures, I had heard that even one who thinks that that person is a sadhu, he also becomes sadhu very soon
Yeah.
because he's not seeing that person on an,
Yeah.
you know.
That is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary to this verse.
Okay, okay. So means my understanding is right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Then thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Right. Radha Bhavani Mataji, I am unmuting.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Danda Pranam. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Prabhuji, my question is with the second line. The atheists do not believe in any form of God, and that Asat Sangha becomes a cause of sadhu ninda. So, as of now, I have never got any or in touch with or in association of any atheists. But now life has taken a different turn with the in the place where I work. It's a close unit, and the person who has joined newly, who's a head, he tells for everything he was telling that he's an atheist, whatever. I did not go to tell anything, but on his own, when he saw me and my appearance, he started declaring it. So I thought better before I can caution myself. If you tell what is the right kind of, only like limited to work, or if we limit ourselves to work, and is that safe enough?
Yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says Sangha means where there is a conscious exchange of these 6 loving exchanges. Dadati pratigrinati guhya makyati prichati bhumte bhojayate cheva. So he says that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the same example as you have given. He says, oh, but I in my workplace there are many non-devotees. So should I give up my job? Or if I don't give up my job, is it Asat Sangha? He says, no. Uh, if you are consciously engaging in these 6 exchanges, then it becomes Sangha. But if these 6 exchanges are not there, if you are just interacting for your work purpose, that is not considered Sangha. So that is not a satsanga. And for that reason, that is not satsanga also. If between devotees also, we may be living in the association of devotees, but if we are not having the 6 exchanges, if our relationship is not nourished through the 6 exchanges, then we are cohabiting with devotees, but it is not considered to be satsanga also. So in workplace, yeah, your boss maybe say, oh, I am an atheist, I am an atheist. You say, okay, Hare Krishna, that's all. Whatever work related discussions are there, you discuss, that's all. So he may say, I am atheist, I am atheist. He say, very good. Okay. Is that
Thank you
okay?
so much. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So let me just check what is the time. It's okay. Another 10 minutes we have. So let's move on to the next topic, which is how to treat a Vaishnava. So if sadhu ninda is bad, criticizing a devotee is bad, then how do we treat a Vaishnava? That is the next theme. So here, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that one should rather eagerly take the dust from the feet of a Vaishnava, regardless of whether he is a Grihastha or a Sannyasi. One will treat him only according to his advancement as a Vaishnava, which is based upon the degree of attraction to the holy name. So, evaluating, let's not use the word judging, evaluating a Vaishnava is based on his advancement, not ashrama. Actually, many times people say, Prabhuji, you must be very advanced, you are a brahmachari. I mean, this is a good sentiment, but if one really believes in this, this is not the right understanding. It is a good sentiment to have. But oh, with this sentiment, we may end up actually not giving appropriate respect to a grihastha who is very, very advanced. So we don't see the ashram. Actually, ashram has nothing to do with ashram or varna has nothing to do with one's devotional advancement. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. Naham vipro na chanarapati napi vaishyo na shudro naham varni na chagrihapati na vanasto yatirva kintu prodyan nikila paramananda purnamritabder gopi bhartur padakamadeyor dasudasanatas. That is our understanding actually. So such things as caste or ashram, wealth, learning, youthfulness, beauty, strength, or number of followers are not factors. One must furthermore be able to distinguish the types of Vaishnavas according to their spiritual advancement. He says these are of three types: the materialistic Vaishnava or a Vaishnava Praya, almost a Vaishnava. So this is according to the definition of Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So, is he who has mediocre faith in Krishna but has no service attitude towards the sadhus? Actually, such a person is not a Vaishnava, but the dim image of a Vaishnava, Vaishnava Abhas. Right? He is not really a Vaishnava. Because the real symptom of a Vaishnava is he should have these four symptoms. Ishvare prema, tad adhineshu maitri, balisheshu kripa, and dvishatsu upeksha. Right? So he must have here prema does not mean prema bhakti. Here prema means love towards Krishna. Okay. Tad adineshu maitri means friendly disposition towards devotees. Okay. And compassionate disposition towards innocent non-devotees. And avoiding non-Krishna conscious association. Right? So all these four symptoms has to parallelly be there. So the symptom of progress in Krishna consciousness, at least for a Madhyamadhikari, is this. How much he has become closer to Krishna, of course, that we cannot see. But how much he feels very much dependent on the association of devotees, how much he develops, he becomes compassionately inclined towards the innocent non-devotees, and how much consciously he is avoiding non-Krishna conscious association. So this actually is a symptom of a Vaishnava. However, if he is not a Vaishnava, how will he be permitted to associate with Vaishnavas who do not associate with non-Vaishnavas? Therefore, this person is considered to be at the stage of a Vaishnava, a Kanishta Vaishnava, upon whom the actual fixed up Vaishnavas will bestow mercy so that he becomes purified. So such a Prakrita Bhakta who respects Krishna, worships Krishna, but disrespects the devotee, is considered to be an innocent. He falls within the category of innocent. So therefore, he should be shown compassion. So that should be our disposition. So this is this Vaishnava Praya, or a Prakrita Bhakta, or a materialistic devotee. Okay. So Archayam eva haraye pujam yash shraddhaye hate natad bhakteshu chanyeshu sabhakta prakrita smitaha. A devotee who faithfully engages in the worship of the deity in the temple but does not behave properly towards the devotees or people in general is called an unrefined devotee, or a, a materialistic devotee. Prakrita bhakta means literally means materialistic devotee. Okay. So, okay, I think we are close to, the time is almost over. So I think we still have quite a few slides to complete. So I think we'll pause here. If there are any final comments, maybe one or two comments or questions we will take before winding up for the day, because it's already 8:59. So if there are no further comments, then we will end. I see one hand up, two hands. Okay. Murthy Prabhu, I am unmuting you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
These are the, you said there are 6 exchanges for a Sangha. What are the 6, Prabhuji?
Dadati Pratigranati, you have heard this? Giving gifts and receiving gifts in return. This is nectar of instruction, 4th verse. And Bhumte Bojaite, giving prasadam and receiving prasadam in return. And Guhya Makyati Prichati, opening one's heart in confidence to the other person. And when he opens his heart, hearing him with empathy. So these are the 6 exchanges.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Gauranga Purushottam Prabhu, I am unmuting.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhuji.
Dandavat.
Prabhuji, my question is there ki, when you define the 3 types of Vaishnava, so generally when you define the 3 types of Vaishnava, then it is not a criticism because you are distinguishing the Vaishnava.
Yeah, we have to, because Narottam Das Thakur says, Sakale Samman Korite Shakati Deho Nata Jata Jata Tabeto Gaibo Harinama Suke Aparada Habe Hota. He says, yes, we are equal in the sense we want to respect everyone. We want to respect all the Vaishnavas. But Deho Nata Jata Jata. Jata jata means according to the level of advancement, we want to give respect. And that's what nectar of instruction also says. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta. Dikshasti chet pranatibhischa bhajantamisham. Shushrusheya bhajana vigyam ananyam anya nindadi shunya hridamipsita sangalabhya. He says, if someone chants the holy name, you have to respect him, but mentally. But if he has progressed enough to receive Diksha, then you have to respect him, but by paying obeisances. But if he is still advanced and his heart is completely free of the desire to criticize others, and he is very fixed in his practice of devotional service, then one has to eagerly, one has to be very eager to take his association and serve him with one's heart and soul. So definitely in our Vaishnava scriptures, there is this discrimination which the Vaishnavas are meant to make, because so that appropriate respect can be shown.
But Prabhuji, my question is that during this course of this differentiating, we may also judge the Vaishnava. That judgment becomes sometimes a criticism or just sometimes it become offense. So how to avoid that?
No, it is not, because a very simple definition is given.
Yeah.
If he is chanting the holy name, pay obeisances within your heart. If he is initiated, pay physical obeisances. But if he is completely free of the desire to criticize others, and he seems to be very advanced in his practice, and all the Vaishnavas, other exalted Vaishnavas are giving him very high respect, you also follow them and give them very high respect. That's all.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so thank you all very much. So we will end our discussion here. Thank you very much for your patient listening and enthusiastic participation. So hoping to have your association next Wednesday also. So till then we will pause. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai, Shri Harinam Chintamani ki jai, Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo. Hare Krishna. Thank you.